Hello, and a very good morning to you folks here on KWNG 106. This is Jack Colwell, and I'm joined once again by Jameson Melbye. Our show is Get Real with Real Estate with Jameson Melbye from RE/MAX Results. Jameson, another week has passed. Boy, things are cooking. We're into the month of June. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Jack?
Excellent. It's always great to have you here. And I know the real estate market is just red hot right now. I know you've got a listing you want to talk about right out of the chute.
Yeah, so last week I listed a house in Pepin, Wisconsin. So Pepin is down the river on the other side, about 40 minutes, and there's a beautiful 3-bed, 2-bath house on 10 acres. It's $255,000. It has a below-ground pool, has a really big pole shed, a nice barn that could be used for animals or rehabbed into like a fun party space or something. And there's a machine shed with a wood burner, so people can heat the house through wood during the winter. And it's just a beautifully remodeled house, so we're pretty excited about that. So it shouldn't take too long to sell. But again, $255,000 in Pepin.
And we were talking before we actually got underway with the show that you're looking for listings in the area. The market right now is just crazy, so kind of fill us in on that if you could.
Yeah, so we have a bit of a predicament where the houses are selling so quick that we're not meeting buyer demand. So in Red Wing, we need houses in the median price range between like 140, 180. Those houses are in high demand, and then actually people rural. So if you have a property in the country, 2 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, reasonably priced, I would say under 250, 300. Those are huge demand right now. There just isn't anything out there, and people are looking outside of Red Wing into Goodhue, Cannon Falls, Lake City, and then Hastings too. The real estate market in Hastings is just intense. Very low listing inventory, tons of buyers looking. So Red Wing, Hastings, if you're looking to sell, now is a really, really good time. And I say too, before you sign a listing contract with another agent, interview me. I can go over my marketing plans and very competitive prices for what I charge. So it's definitely a good conversation to have.
Before we go to our next little topic here, my question is, how does this happen, boy? It just seems like it's really exploded or blown up recently.
Yeah, well, I've been doing this 10 years, it's crazy that I've been doing this 10 years. But when I started, we were in the peak of the seller's market, okay, and then so I didn't really know anything different at that time, and then boom, things just collapsed, and then we hit the recession. So, and I've studied, interest rates historically, real estate markets historically, things like that, and they do just ebb and flow. So we have peaks, valleys, things like that. Right now we're kind of riding another high, which means that, eventually we will dip again. So if you're looking to sell, I would say, we can't predict when a correction is going to happen or anything like that, but people are talking about later in the year. These people last year were saying spring, but we've seen a very strong spring market, so it could happen later in the year where it'd be a good time to buy, but right now it's still a great time to sell. So that's just how markets work. We have, ups and downs. So.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
All right, here, of course, folks who are familiar with Mad Magazine, it was Spy versus Spy, but the topic here is rent versus buy. Fill us in, people who may be pondering that decision, the rent versus buy dilemma.
Yeah, so Red Wing is just in a really crazy situation where, aside from the housing market for buying, there's very, very limited inventory for available rentals. So we're seeing rent rates really increase. I would say probably, and I haven't followed the rental market over the last 10 years like I have the sale market, but it's just the rents are out of control, and people are saying that, we can't afford what people are charging for rent. And then we look at, okay, if you were to buy a $100,000 house, you're looking at a payment between $600-700. Versus if you're renting that house, you're going to be paying $800, $900, $1,000, and you don't own the house. You're not gaining equity. You're not, you can't make modifications to it you want to. You're not getting the tax benefits from that. That being said, I'm not totally against renting, because some people, let's say they move here on a contract, with a Red Wing Shoe or somebody like that as a consultant. They're only here for a year or two. Well, then it makes sense to rent, but if you're going to be here for the long haul, I would say definitely buy. Interest rates are right around 4%. Back if you bought a house in the 80s, they're 15 to 20% interest. So still really good rates. Yeah, it just depends on what your situation is. And I can always help counsel people too on what the right financial decision is there.
All right, we've just started here in the month of June. Another thing we could maybe talk about is should people list right now?
Yeah, so the strong market is the strong seller's market will last through June. So if you're thinking about selling, if you want to sell quickly, I would say, get your house on the market as quick as possible. It usually takes from signing paperwork to getting it actually on the MLS about a week, 2 weeks, depending on what kind of advice you're given for staging, decluttering, things like that. But people are going to be looking heavily through June yet, and then once the 4th of July hits, we see a slowdown in the market because people are out camping, they're fishing, things like that. They're not thinking real estate so much. So between now and June, or the end of June, is definitely a great time.
What is the auto search MLS? And I would imagine there are updates on the web too. Could you cover those two topics?
Yeah, definitely. So the MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service. That's where the realtors input all of our listings there. They populate out to all the broker websites. It populates out to Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Really, hundreds of websites get our data that comes from that one feed. So, but the MLS, if you have an auto search from an agent, that updates quicker than the other sites. So what we do is if you're wanting to buy a house or sell a house even, like let's say in a year, what I like to do is put people on an auto search so I can dial in their criteria they're looking for, and then they can just watch the market over the next year, 6 months to a year, whatever that time frame is, and then they're being educated that whole time, and then once they're ready to buy or ready to sell, they'll see what their price range is, what houses are going for, so that when we find the house they like, we can tell if this is a good buy. Do we need to offer less? Do we need to offer full price or more? So auto searches from the MLS are great. They don't cost you anything. And it's just fun. I see a lot of people log in daily and check their auto search. And then to your other point, the market updates. So our website with Remax Results is pretty cool, where I can set you up on this market update in, let's say, Red Wing, Cannon Falls, Hastings, whatever zip code you want, and then you can get a monthly email that has, what's the median price right now, how long your house is taking to sell, tons of data to look at. So just, the more educated you are as a buyer or seller, the easier the process will be.
All right, great stuff, Jameson. We'll take a quick break. We're back with part 2 of Get Real with Real Estate with Jameson Melbye of Remax Results here on KWNG 106. Right after this.
Excellent.
Okay.
We have one viewer.
All right.
Right now. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so with part 2 here, you want me to just kind of I'll reintroduce, get back into it, and then talking about...
this next question was from Corey in Northfield.
Okay, all right. Here we go. You all set?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to part 2 of Get Real with Real Estate. I'm Jack Colwell. Joining me, Jameson Melbye, the expert with Remax Results. Jameson, I see you received a question. So this is kind of an interesting one, too. Fill us in on that one.
Yeah, so the question was, how long do I have until I can back out without repercussions? So what he means is if he has an accepted offer on a house, most of the time you're going to want to have an inspection contingency in place, so that way, once your offer is accepted, you put your earnest money deposit down, and then, you have a qualified home inspector go look at the house. So then, if there are major issues that you're uncomfortable with, you can back out. Most cases, we negotiate repairs with the seller. We negotiate a lower price for the home, a repair escrow, something like that. But in the event that there's something that really does freak them out, they can back out during that inspection time period without loss of earnest money. So that's the best thing we can do to protect them there. But now, to the question is without repercussions. So that would be the time without repercussions. Now, the other plan is the financing contingency. So if they can't get the loan for some reason, something happens outside of their control, again, they get to back out. Most cases, they get that earnest money returned to them. So now let's say your inspection is cleared, your financing is fine, things like that. We're 2 weeks out from closing, and you just decide, hey, I want out of this deal, I want to buy a different house. Well, now your earnest money is up for grabs, and possibly even litigation at that point, because somebody has packed their house, they've lost marketing time, things like that. And I did have a deal last year where the buyer completely understood, changed their mind, said, you know what, I'll just give them the earnest money so we can just move on to something else. How does that work? And the seller, pretty unhappy, but they did accept that. So, like I said, the point of the earnest money, the point of the contract is to let them know you're serious and you're not going to back out. So then, yeah, if somebody were to back out, I mean, it could get into court, things like that, because people are going through a lot of work getting ready to move.
Yeah, I mean, for my wife and myself, we've owned 4 different homes. So, yeah, when it changes, each and every circumstance is a little bit of different circumstance, a lot of give and take there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Folks are looking to list. Make sure they check you out first before they take that plunge, right? Make sure they check you out.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have several packages that that fit what the seller's needs are, and then even there's one plan where I can do what we call one-time showings or a pocket listing, and I've sold quite a few homes throughout the years where people don't necessarily want to put their house on the market for everybody to see, due to privacy issues, or they're not in a time crunch, and then I can just show the house to buyers, as they fit the criteria. And I've had quite a few work out that way. Last year there was a great situation where I helped a few families, kind of in a chain of events. But I knew one person that wanted to sell, didn't really want to list it, so then we saved the money, and that way too, which they really were pretty happy that they saved, half of the commission that they normally would have had to pay if they would have listed on the MLS. So always good to check with me first.
Very much so. It's JamesonMelbye.com versus Zillow and Realtor.com.
Yeah.
There are differences. They're not all the same. So let us know.
We're wrestling with the websites there.
Yes.
So the thing with Zillow is I get a lot of people that say, can we go look at, they give me 6 houses they want to see, and then I have to break the news to them that 3 of those houses are sold. There's something wrong with them, or the data that Zillow pulled wasn't accurate. So if somebody, let's say they missed 2 payments and their mortgage starts showing up as going in default, it's not necessarily bank owned, but Zillow pulls it as such, so then they say they want to see this house, and I have to explain, well, if they don't make their payments, we're 8 months out, a year out before that'll even hit the market. So Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com don't always have the most accurate data. So my website, JamesonMelbye.com, is a broker website that gets their feed directly from the MLS. So you're going to find the most accurate data on broker websites. I mean, obviously, I'd love you to search on mine, but if you have a favorite realtor or favorite real estate company, search their website too. They will have more accurate data than Zillow or Realtor.com.
All right, very good. And you clued me into something about something Zillow's doing called the instant offer. And it's kind of generated some controversy. So give me the scoop on that.
Yeah, so that's it's been a big topic in real estate forums and private real estate groups and things like that in the last week. But so Zillow, if you notice on every listing they have the Zillow's estimate, which we find typically is much less than what the actual list price is, much less than what the actual sale price is. So the real estate community is not a big fan of this estimate. Because they have algorithms that come up with price. They haven't actually been in the house to see, does this have wallpaper and green carpet? Does it have you're laughing, but it's true.
Yes.
And
Brady Bunch like
or granite countertops and beautiful tile, things like that. So the algorithm is not very accurate. And the instant offer is they have these Wall Street investors now that are offering 80 cents on the dollar for based on the Zestimate for houses that are listed through Zillow. So Zillow takes realtors' money, they take our data, but yet they're trying to cut us out and then lowball these sellers. So we're really telling people to watch on this instant offer thing, because what they're going to do is they'll buy the house, close on it, they'll relist it higher than what that estimate is to make their spread. So it's a very very tricky thing that Zillow is doing with this instant offer. So I would just say seller beware.
Yeah, use a lot of caution. We're just about out of time. Give us some more contact information. I know the weather's warming up. The markets are hot right now, so give us your contact information again, Jameson.
It is, yeah. So again, you can find me on the web at jamesonmelbye.com. If you are on Facebook, you can type in RE/MAX results, Jameson Melbye Real Estate. I come up there. And my cell phone number is 651-764-8933. And I'm here to help you in anywhere, Goodhue County, Pierce County, Dakota County. I'm here for it.
Great to be chatting with you again. We'll see you next week.
Excellent. See you.
You know what we did? We just got real. Get real with real estate with Jameson Melbye. RE/MAX results here on KWNG 106. Back next Saturday.
Excellent.